It was late afternoon, and the city seemed wrapped in a golden hush. The sky blushed in shades of soft orange and melting gold, while the cobblestone streets shimmered under the sun's final touch. Luma, a 9-year-old girl, wandered alone with her sketchbook pressed tightly to her chest. She wasn't looking for anything, just following invisible trails, lines made of breeze, scattered petals, and forgotten laughter. As she turned a quiet corner, something shifted. The air thickened, like the world had paused to hold its breath. In front of her stood a wrought iron gate, hidden behind wildflowers and tangled vines. She had never seen it before. As she stepped closer, she noticed the iron shimmered ever so slightly, as if recognizing her. A warm breeze caressed her cheek, and in the silence, she heard her name, faint, yet unmistakable, Luma. Without hesitation, she placed her hand on the gate. It creaked open slowly, revealing a corridor of flowering trees and floating lights that danced like fireflies. The ground was covered in shimmering leaves, and tiny sparkles rose into the air like enchanted dust. Luma stepped forward, her heartbeat quiet and full. She had just crossed into a place no map could find, a world waiting only for those who still believed. As Luma walked deeper into the garden, time seemed to slow. Around her bloomed flowers more vibrant than anything she had ever seen. Some glowed softly, others pulsed with light like they were alive. The air was rich with the scent of stories, of childhood memories, warm hugs, and dreams long tucked away. The trees bowed gently in her presence, and the flowers turned toward her, curious and kind. She leaned toward a soft orange blossom, and there it was, a whisper, gentle and warm. Once, a child came here and cried, remembering her grandmother. Each flower held a story. Touching a daisy brought echoes of laughter from distant summer afternoons. A rose murmured secrets, promises made under stars. Luma knelt, heart full, and listened. The garden was not made of plants alone, it was a sanctuary of memory, where feelings rooted themselves like seeds. Butterflies glided around her, not flapping, but drifting like tiny messengers. The wind moved with rhythm, in sync with her breath. Everything around her responded, not to her words, but to her presence, her heart, her quiet wonder. This place didn't just speak, it listened. And it remembered. Golden lights floating like tiny suns led Luma to a clearing, round and silent. At its center stood a massive tree, older, deeper, wiser than all the rest. Its bark shimmered faintly, and its roots coiled into spirals across the earth. Among the roots was a circular lid, woven of bark and glowing moss, as if the land itself had locked something away. She approached slowly. As her hand touched the root, the garden stilled. Leaves froze mid-air, petals paused mid-fall, and the wind held its breath. The root lid opened, revealing a staircase made of living wood, spiraling downward into golden light. She descended, barefoot, into a chamber that pulsed like a heartbeat. The walls glowed. Floating crystals sang soft notes like lullabies. At the center lay a book, thick, ancient, and bound in dried petals. She opened it carefully. Inside, drawings, scrawled poems, unfinished dreams. But one page made her gasp. There, in familiar handwriting, was a golden flower she'd drawn since she was a toddler. She didn't remember drawing it here, but the garden did. It had known her. Always. Luma closed the book gently, feeling its warmth still pulsing softly through her hands. It wasn't just a book, it was alive, full of stories and memories that now belonged to her too. As she rose to her feet, the staircase leading back shimmered beneath her. With each step upward, she heard a faint sound, as though the steps themselves were singing, forming a melody that felt both new and deeply familiar. When she emerged once more from the roots of the great tree, the garden had changed completely. It was no longer quiet, it was awake. The flowers bloomed in radiant patterns, as if clapping in silent joy. Trees spun in slow spirals of golden light, and glowing butterflies floated in gentle circles around her, like they were celebrating her return. Luma looked down at her hands and saw it, a tiny golden flower now glowing just beneath her skin. It shimmered with life, as though it had been planted there all along, waiting to bloom. She smiled softly. She understood now, she hadn't just visited this place. She had become part of it. A gentle voice, ancient and kind, drifted on the breeze. You listened. You believed. And now, you carry us with you. She walked toward the gate, the same one she had passed through before. But now it was woven with blue flowers and heart-shaped leaves, glowing with quiet magic. As she stepped through, the world beyond seemed dimmer, slower. But she didn't feel sad, because something had awakened inside her too. The garden lived within her now, and one day, somewhere, another child, perhaps lonely, perhaps curious, would hear their name whispered on the wind, and the gate would open once more. If you enjoyed this story and want to watch many others just as magical, don't forget to like the video and follow our channel. It helps us keep bringing amazing adventures to you. See you next time.